Hello everyone, I'm Donald. Today I'd like to delve deeper into a story involving Clint Eastwood and a waitress, an incident that shocked everyone and later turned into a legend. This tale isn't just about a misunderstanding, it shows us in every aspect what true respect and genuine hospitality really mean. Years ago, on a Friday evening, Clint Eastwood arrived at Redwood Palace, one of the most opulent spots in Los Angeles. Compared to the other patrons, he was dressed quite simply, a polo shirt and comfortable trousers. He clearly had no intention of drawing attention to himself. Yet what made the situation truly interesting was that hardly anyone recognized him. In a city like Hollywood, where everyone knows Eastwood's face from his films, overlooking him is a rarity. And it wasn't just a matter of, oh, I didn't see a famous person. The real issue was the attitude of Vanessa, once one of the restaurant's newer servers, who that evening displayed an unrestrained boldness. What most people didn't know was that Clint wasn't there just for a meal. It turned out he had quietly purchased the restaurant months before. Very few people were aware of this because Clint had instructed the staff not to treat him with any special privileges and to deal with him just like everyone else. This was rooted in his work ethic and the profound respect he has for people. Vanessa, however, had joined the establishment fairly recently, so she was unaware of these details. As Donald, I had spoken beforehand with the restaurant's senior employees. They told me that Clint Eastwood's habit of hiding his identity when dining stemmed from his belief that the most important thing in any restaurant is to treat everyone equally. He would occasionally drop by Redwood Palace, disguised as a regular customer, to see if that standard was upheld. Unfortunately, Vanessa's behavior that night was the exact opposite of that principle. Vanessa is perhaps the story's most intriguing figure. We learn that she had a thorough hospitality education, aspired to work at top-tier venues, and even dabbled in creating a food influencer persona on social media. So when she saw an older, plainly dressed man, Clint, at her table that evening, she might have thought, "This person doesn't belong here." She tried to steer him to a more suitable spot and essentially gave off the vibe, "Sorry, but people who look like you don't really come here." Thomas, the restaurant's senior manager, sensed what might unfold. He'd noticed Vanessa treating another customer rudely the previous week, just because the guest wasn't dressed stylishly. But the stakes became far higher with Clint, although Thomas failed to intervene before matters escalated. It's said that Vanessa insinuated to Clint, who was sipping on the house whiskey, something like, "Perhaps you'd rather sit at the bar. This area is mostly reserved for special bookings." Meanwhile, Miguel, a young busboy who had recently immigrated from Mexico, appeared on the scene. He worked tirelessly to support his family and was a big film buff, inheriting his admiration for Clint Eastwood from his father. Recognizing Clint right away, despite his simple attire, Miguel realized Vanessa had no idea who she was dealing with. When Miguel tried to interject, "Let me call Thomas. There's no need for this," Vanessa snapped at him to stay out of it. Clint, however, stayed cool, calmly observing the situation. Experienced staff and longtime customers also watched quietly, sensing something significant was about to happen. At last, Vanessa's insistent and hurtful approach collided with Clint's composed stare. That was the tipping point. Why? Because Clint pulled out his phone and said, "Jerry, could you bring me the ownership papers and the renovation plans we discussed last week?" Thus making the situation crystal clear. For weeks he had been sitting at that same corner table each Friday to test Redwood Palace as a regular patron. He then delivered a lesson to the entire restaurant. "When I first came here 50 years ago, this place welcomed me with open arms, never caring who I was. The owner back then believed that true quality lies not in labels, but in humanity. That's why I decided to buy this place, to continue that legacy." These words struck not just Vanessa, but everyone present. Eastwood challenged the meaning of luxury, asserting that it's not about social standing or expensive attire, but about treating people with dignity. He was essentially championing heartfelt service. The former owner of Redwood Palace had excelled in making every guest feel like the most important person in the room, and Clint was determined to maintain that culture. Originally known simply as Redwood Palace, the establishment was founded about 50 years ago as a family business by the Thompson family. During a period when upscale dining in Los Angeles was on the rise, they chose to prioritize warmth and quality food. It's said that from day one, patrons were never seen as mere customers, but as guests. In fact, many Hollywood actors and actresses who hadn't yet become major stars often dropped by Redwood Palace for the fairly priced menu and friendly service. Clint Eastwood, even after he gained fame, apparently kept going back there. Perhaps he realized, behind all the fame, one could still remain normal, a lesson he might have absorbed through the warm experiences in this very place. Over time, the Thompson family decided to sell for both financial and personal reasons. Clint Eastwood stepped in discreetly, bought the restaurant, then began renovating the worn-out sections while steadfastly preserving the venue's modest character. That's why, alongside luxurious decor, he insisted on showing every guest equal respect. In its new era, most visitors passing through Redwood Palace's doors were unaware that Clint was the owner. This reflected Eastwood's goal to ensure the place remained truly hospitable and to blend the concept of luxury with humanity. And the real surprise, Clint didn't fire Vanessa on the spot. Instead, he offered her a choice. She could leave if she wished or remain and learn what true hospitality was all about. Vanessa was moved to tears, realizing the magnitude of her mistake. Clint also said to Miguel, "Young man, you grasp the heart of this. How would you like to work as a waiter?" Promoting him. It beautifully captured the idea that some learn service not just through a diploma, but with heart. On the surface, you might reduce this tale to a famous actor who wasn't recognized because he dressed humbly and the waitress was rude. But in depth, it points to the principle, don't judge people by their labels. True value may well lie in the respect and genuine kindness we show others. What happened at Redwood Palace reveals that luxury is about humanity, not money. Vanessa acknowledged her mistake, gaining immensely from that experience. After all, getting a lesson directly from a legend like Clint Eastwood is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for most people. Meanwhile, Miguel began working as a waiter and quickly proved himself, understanding early on that hospitality is about more than just bringing out the menu. Clint, for his part, continued to sit at his corner table every Friday. Rumor has it that he keeps up this undercover owner role to preserve the restaurant's spirit. If you ever drop by, you may still find him sipping whiskey in a simple polo shirt, so they say. Conclusion: this story shows how misleading it can be to judge someone by their appearance. Clint Eastwood bought Redwood Palace to revive a culture of treating everyone as they deserve. Vanessa learned firsthand the risks of judging by outward looks, especially in the very heart of the service industry. Miguel was unexpectedly promoted thanks to his family values, work ethic, and love of cinema. If you've read this far, I've shared the key elements of the story, along with added context and commentary. In short, real luxury isn't hollow showmanship, it's the kindness that springs from the heart. Seeing that spirit live on at Redwood Palace offers inspiration we can all apply to our own lives. Hey everyone, this was Donald, and if you enjoyed this story about real class and timeless values, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments about a time when someone judged you wrongly and how you handled it. See you in the next video.